Okay, welcome back. So, someone asked me to go ahead and try to explain this a little bit more in detail. The video isn't as clear on the last one. But what I wanted to show you is exactly what you should be taking from the Pismo clams. This is about a 6-inch Pismo clam, and we just caught it today here in San Diego. They have to be 4.5 inches or bigger with a fishing license, no more than 10 per day. You cannot catch them 30 minutes prior to sunrise or 30 minutes after sunset for the regulations that's set forth here in this region. These Pismo clams, they're only a couple inches below the surface, and they sit as such when they're feeding. They have these siphons and tentacles that almost look like algae that come out of this area here, where you can see where it's highly I guess you could say coated with barnacles and things of that nature. As for the bottom side, doesn't have it as much. And it doesn't have what is called the hinge, and this is just ligament, but it's shelled over. These are the age rings that's on it. So the shell's been around for a while, probably over 10 years. Now, what I have done is I had already gone through and I've cut it. And how to do that from the start is I always kind of set it like this, or it sets naturally when it's not open. And you stick the knife in from the top and you work your way towards the hinge. Now what that does is when you cut it, it cuts these adduction muscles in half. What you'll see here, we're attached here to the shell. So then what I ended up doing is just cutting those off the membrane that's here that coats this shell on the inner side. And in the middle, as you'll see, it's like this. This is what they call a foot. Now this foot is what allows the clam to move in the sand and maneuver itself. And then it's attached to all the other parts of the clam itself. So we're going to go ahead and discard this out of the way. Now the foot, it has some dark particles too. Now we can get closer into that. You want to get that off of there. Now this clam does have organs. And anything such as discoloration or really thin, and you'll see it, it's very translucent and very, very thin. And that's something that we're not going to necessarily put in our chowder. You'll see over here, this ligament. Okay, it looks like a zipper. You'll see these two on razor clams. We're not going to use that. Some people do use it in their chowders, but I'm not going to put it in mine per se. But you have gills. These are gills. And then here you'll see there's an in-current siphon that's right here, and then an X-current X-current siphon that's here. So food goes in this way on this one, and then it squirts it out through here after it processes it. And then we're looking on the inside of what would be the throat, and it leads into the other parts of the organs of the oyster, or the clam, I'm sorry. So we're not going to use any of that. Now, you can actually get sick and possibly be a statistic of a fatality if you get what they call PSP. It's a parasite that lives inside of the clam if not prepared properly. So you can eat them raw. I wouldn't recommend it. I would stick to just the meat part, which in this case is the foot and what would have been just 2 adduction muscles that we filleted or cut in half in order to open the shell. So that's what I'm going to keep for my chowder. This is trash over here. Now this part, like I said, you could take that part right there and use that. And you can use this, but I'm not going to. This clam will probably yield me about 2.5 ounces of meat. So if you had 10 clams at around 5 inches or more, you could possibly get about 1.5 pounds of meat. And then this particular clam was found at the surface. We didn't even have to dig for it. Today we only got 2, but this particular one for this demonstration was just sitting above the sand line. So we weren't even really anticipating catching any today. We didn't catch any until we were about ready to leave. So I wanted to just show this video just on some of the anatomy of the clam itself, in some of its terminology. You'll see different diagrams online, and it's pretty accurate. But I wanted to be very specific on what parts of the clam, on the Pismo clam, that is edible once you prepare it. As for this stuff, you need to discard. So I want to thank you for watching. I want you to subscribe and like, if you will. And if you have any questions, please comment below. Thank you.